Today we'll talk about amendment of the constitution, and every one of us know that nothing is constant or nothing is static. So times are not static, and therefore time changes, and therefore the life of a nation it also changes, and therefore we need to amend uh, things from time to time. That is the concept of amendment, and so let's wait for some more time. There are people who are still joining. Yeah. So actually there are two method of amendment of constitution. First one is, yeah. First one is judicial interpretation, and second one is formal method. So these are two ways through which we can amend the constitution. I want to ask one thing. In judicial interpretation, can we change the text of constitution? Anyone, if you can answer.
No.
Okay. So basically, in the case of judicial interpretation, the constitutional text does not change, but its interpretation undergoes a change. So the words in the constitution having one meaning in one context may be given somewhat different meaning in another context. So while the language of constitution does not change, the changing circumstances of a progressive society for which it was designed yield new and fuller import to its meaning. So that's all. That's all, because it's not that much important judicial interpretation. Now, in judicial interpretation, also there are two things. First is uh, basically I missed one thing. Two method: informal method and formal. So in informal method, this judicial interpretation will come, and second is convention and constitutional usage. So these two things will come. So these are not important for us from the perspective of UPSC. Therefore, we won't discuss these things. We'll discuss formal method. All right. Yeah. So what happened in every constitution that it has some formal method of constitutional amendment, and this consists of changing the language of a constitutional provision, so it can adapt it to the changed uh, context of social needs. All right. So in some countries, what happens that the process may be easier than in others. So accordingly, we classify the constitution into two categories. First one is flexible, and second one is rigid constitution. Can we say that Indian constitution is a rigid constitution or flexible constitution? Can we say it?
It should be both.
Mixture of
Blend
both.
It's
of
a
both.
mix of both.
Yeah, it's a blend of flexibility and rigid. All right, so we can't say that it's a flexible. If I say that Australian constitution is rigid constitution, then what will you say? Okay, so let's discuss what is flexible constitution. So it is one. Uh, a flexible constitution is a constitution in which amendment can be effected rather easily as enacting an ordinary law. Did you understand what I said? That very easily you can bring the amendment. The procedure will be same as if you are enacting any ordinary law. You are bringing any law. Same, almost same procedure for the constitutional amendment also. And the best example of such a constitution is the British Constitution, which can be amended by an ordinary act of parliament. So there is no distinction between ordinary legislative process and constituent process. All right. Now we'll talk about rigid constitution. So rigid constitution is something, it's regarded as the fundamental law of the land, in the sense that it lays down the basic principle of that country's governance, which are considered to be permanent, which are considered to be of a permanent value. So this is rigid constitution. It means that they think that the constitution is the fundament. Constitution lays down the basic principle for the country, and therefore it should not be changed. Basically, that's what rigid constitution means. Okay, so it's next to impossible. I won't say it's next to impossible, but I can say it's very difficult to amend such kind of constitution, and these principle can be changed only after thorough consideration and deliberation, and that hasty and ill-considered changes under political pressure basically of the day are avoided. So if there is some sort of political pressure and someone wants to bring those changes in the constitution, in rigid constitution, that is not possible. It's very difficult. All right. And so, in such constitution, the process of constitution amendment is more elaborate and difficult than the enactment of ordinary legislation. So, there is a difference between ordinary legislation and the constitutional amendment. In flexible constitution, we have seen that they have almost the same procedure. However, in this kind of constitution, there is a demarcation. All right. Anyone, if you have anything to ask, you can ask right now. Otherwise, we'll move forward. Anyone?
Sir, Australia is in which category?
Rigid. I'll discuss Australian constitution. Today I'll discuss in our UPSC syllabus in GS2, we have to study the comparative study of other constitution also. This is one topic, right? So it's very difficult that if we start one country's constitution and then complete it, and then other countries, next to impossible, and it's rigorous exercise, and it's a futile exercise also, in my opinion. So what we can do right now, we are doing amendment. So I'll discuss 2-3 countries constitution amendment procedure of 2-3 countries. One is USA, second is Canada, third is Australia. These three I'll discuss because these three are important, and we have little bit similarity with these constitution also in amendment procedure. All right. So we'll discuss these three only, and these three are important. When we are talking about amendment, when we are discussing parliament or any other executive, then we can take some other constitution also. So whichever is important, I'll take that. Yeah. So the term rigid or flexible constitution are somewhat relative. The difference being one of degree. Basically, so there is a difference of degree. Do you understand what is degree?
Or how frequent it is.
Not exactly. I'm talking about in terms of intensity or maybe flexibility. So say for example, this is 1 degree, this is 2 degree, this is 3 degree. And just give you one simple example. Okay. So it's a very flexible. Okay. This thing is very flexible. The person who is having 1 degree, okay, he is very flexible. Or we can say constitution. The second degree constitution, like, do you understand punishment? Third degree torture, second degree torture, these kind of. So the severity increases. Are you getting that? So when we are talking about degree, it means that higher the degree, toughness will be the procedure to amend the constitution will become tough. That's what degree means. समझ में आया आप लोगों को?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Just give me a second. So when we are talking about flexibility or rigidity, so it's just because of the difference between that degree. Okay. And one more thing, that if a constitution which is incapable of adjustment and adoption, it will obviously fail to endure, right? And if a constitution, even if a constitution is flexible type, may not be lightly amended, owing to basically what we can say political repercussion apprehended and the social values of the people. So there are some constitution which prima facie we can say that they are rigid. However, in practice, they prove to be easily changeable, and we can say Indian constitution is one such constitution. We think that's difficult to change the constitution, but it's not. It's we can easily change the Indian constitution in most of the cases. All right. Anyone, if you have anything, any doubt, you can ask now. So basically, the formal, we were talking about formal amendment. So it is, I can say, the most significant way of adapting the constitution to changing circumstances. And judicial interpretation can also help to some extent in the respect, in this, basically in this respect, but it cannot change the wording of the basic law, and certain desired changes may not be attainable without verbal changes in the constitution text. So therefore we need both kind of amendment, one from the judiciary, judicial interpretation we need, because there are certain terms which are ambiguous in the nature, or they have different meaning, and people try to interpret them in their own way. Therefore we need judiciary for the interpretation. So whatever interpretation judiciary gives, we go by that, but it doesn't change the wording. It can change the meaning of that particular term or particular word, but it doesn't change the wording. The text will be the same if it is a judicial interpretation. But in formal method, obviously the text goes through the change. So, and one more thing, that judicial process is quite slow, because we can see that one case is pending. Say if we are going for the interpretation of the constitution, then the case may be pending for maybe 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, and there may be some urgency. And for that, this formal method will work. That Parliament bring the constitutional, bring an act which will amend the constitution. All right. So now we'll talk about the amendment of USA Constitution. Anyone, if you have any idea about the amendment of USA Constitution, how come it take place? Anybody?
Sir, it was a very rigid constitution, and till now, less than 15 amendments had taken place.
Okay. Amendment of US Constitution. So basically, it involved two stages, amendment, and it has two stages. First one is, these two are different, initiation, and second one is ratification, when we are talking about the USA Constitution. So it has two separate stages. First one is initiation, second one is ratification. Okay, anyone, if you can tell me about initiation, what is it? A general idea, if you can think.
So introduction of that amendment.
Okay.
Like to
Yes.
table the bill in the like Senate or whatever is there.
Okay. So basically, an amendment may be initiated either by, listen carefully, by vote of 2/3 of each house of Congress. An amendment can be initiated by vote of 2/3 of each house of Congress. This is first way. Okay, and second one is that by a constitutional convention called together by Congress on the application of legislature of 2/3 of state convention, it's not convention, it's a constitutional convention, and it will be called by Congress, and the application will be given by the two-third of legislature of the state. So, say for example, if in USA there are 50 states, so what will be the two-third?
33.
66. Sorry, 33. 33 of 33. Let's take it 34. Okay. So 34 states, or we can say 33 states, will have to make an application to Congress, and then Congress will call that session, and that will be called Constitutional Convention. Okay, समझ में आ गया इतना आपको?
Yes.
अगर समझ नहीं आया तो आप दोबारा पूछ सकते हो. आई कैन एक्सप्लेन वंस अगेन.
So, like
Hello,
the
sir.
third state will be filing a petition to the Congress to introduce that amendment.
Yes.
Sir, one doubt.
हाँ निमेश.
Sir, you told that either by vote of two-third of each house of Congress. So, what is the composition of Congress in USA?
एक सीनेट होगा और एक हाउस ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होगा.
सर शायद कांग्रेस और सीनेट अलग-अलग होते हैं जहाँ तक मुझे याद है.
हाँ. कांग्रेस होगा और पक्का.
सर एक बार चेक कर लीजिए, वही मेरे को कंफ्यूजन हुआ
सर
क्योंकि
सीनेट अमेरिका की राज्यसभा होती है.
हाँ, सीनेट
हाँ.
अमेरिका की राज्यसभा होती है और कांग्रेस लोकसभा टाइप होता है.
Yes, sir. Senate is like Rajya Sabha. I think both the house together are called as Congress, and one is Senate and second is House of Representatives.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sir.
ओके सर.
मैं भी कंफ्यूज और हो गया था. एक हाउस ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होगा, दूसरा सेनेट होगा. ठीक है. तो अभी क्या है कि इन दोनों जो सेनेट है और हाउस ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है, इसके टू-थर्ड ऑफ जो होंगे लोग, जैसे इंडिया में होता है, टू-थर्ड वोट से वो पास होगा, तब यहाँ पर होगा. ठीक है. एंड दूसरा प्रोसीजर है, अब आज तक all the amendments have been initiated by first method only, and the second method have never been employed. Okay. So far first method had been used for all the amendments. Now if amendment is proposed or initiated, then it may be ratified by two ways also. So the first one was initiation, second one is ratification. First procedure is by vote of the legislature of three-fourths of the state, and second one is by the constitutional convention in three-fourths of states. You can note these down, these things. Constitutional convention in three-fourths of the states. ठीक है. Now the choice of method is wholly within the discretion of the Congress, and I want to ask one question. Say for example, the amendment has been ratified by the Congress by way of first method or second method. Then my question is that will it go for the assent of the president? And I'll ask, who should I ask? Mm, Mayank Sharma. Mayank, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mayank, did you understand what I asked?
Yes, sir. Sir, I don't know exactly, but I feel that it should not go because it's already having the scent of all.
But it is the having the assent of the parliament, basically house. What about the president assent?
Because uh, the in the U.S. Constitution provides for the states itself, and the states there are themselves are a sovereign in nature. So I guess it should not be.
Actually, it is not. So you are correct. Once it has been ratified by the Congress, it will become law.
Fine, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Okay, so can anyone tell me which amendment of the US Constitution, which article of the US Constitution talks about the amendment? Anyone?
Sir, 5.
Yes. Article 5 of US Constitution talks about the amendment procedure. So Article 5 means amendment. What does it say, anyone? Anyone, if you have any idea about it, what does it say? It says that Congress, whenever two-thirds of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendment to this constitution, or on the application of legislature of two-thirds of the state, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purpose as part of this constitution when ratified by the legislature of three-fourths of the several states, or by convention in three-fourths thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress. This is what Article 5 of the US Constitution says. If you want, I can repeat once again. Should I repeat it once again?
Sir, I have one doubt regarding it.
हाँ बोलो.
Sir, this like you said about Constitutional Convention, is it a special
Yes.
body or just all of the Congress members?
Pardon, come again.
Sir, you talked about the convention that it should ratified by convention to initiate or ratified. So, is it a special body or all the members of Congress are part of it?
It is called by the member of. It is called by the Congress. So, do you understand what is Constitutional Convention?
Sir, I doubt this.
कन्वेंशन के आप पहले मुझे बताओ कन्वेंशन क्या होता है.
Convention is like practice being followed from time.
हाँ, तो ऐसे ही इन्होंने अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की कन्वेंशन बना रखी है. तो वो ये बुलाते हैं, कोई वो बॉडी नहीं है, वो कांग्रेस ही बुलाती है। और वो तब बुलाती है जब स्टेट रिक्वेस्ट करे, अगर इनिशिएट करना है और अगर इसको पास करना है, तो फिर वो 3/4 ऑफ द स्टेट वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कन्वेंशन को बुलाते हैं, मतलब एक तरीके से। ठीक है,
ठीक है सर।
ये चीज़ है। तो अब अभी है क्या इसमें, इसमें एक चीज़ है कि मतलब एक restriction imposed by the constitution on the amending process is that no state can be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate without its consent. Okay, and one more thing I want to talk with you. The procedure of constitutional amendment in the USA has been proved to be quite difficult, and we can see that during its tenure of over 200 years, several thousand constitutional amendments have been mooted. However, only 30 of them have been formally proposed by the Congress. So, do you understand what is the meaning of mooted?
Sir, debated and or discussed.
Yeah, kind of discussed. Okay. However, the formal proposition came into the Congress, and the number was 30. Only 30 of them were proposed in Congress, and out of which only 20 have been actually effectuated. 30 आए थे, 30 में से सिर्फ 20 ही इफेक्ट में आ पाए, 10 वहां पर भी फेल हो गए। Alright, and of these, the first 10 amendments which constitute the Bill of Right. What is the Bill of Right?
Sir, fundamental rights.
Fundamental.
Yeah. So fundamental rights which were adopted within 2 years of the initiation of the constitution, and these constitutional amendment. So I was talking about Bill of Rights. So these first 10 constitutional amendments lay down the fundamental right of the people, and so many amendments have been killed because of non-ratification by the states, and so we can say it's a quite rigid, and because of the rigidity of the formal process of constitutional amendment, the courts have had to play the role of adapting it by their interpretive process. So the American courts are quite active when it comes the amendment to the constitution, and they have played we can see a better role. They have better role in this regard. Okay, now we'll talk about Canada. आप लोगों को समझ में आ गया ना यूएस वाला? अगर नहीं आया तो आई कैन रिपीट वंस अगेन. If you are unable to understand, then I can repeat once again.
Sir, can you please summarize once I joined late?
So I was talking about the process of constitutional amendment. So Article 5th of the US Constitution, it talks about the amendment of the US Constitution, and it the amendment in the United States of America can be proposed, or we can say initiated by it has two methods basically. First one is by vote of 2/3 of each house of Congress, and Congress consists of Senate and House of Representative. Second is by a constitutional convention, and it will be called by the Congress, and the application will be forwarded by the legislature of 2/3 of the state. And so far, all the amendments have been made, have been initiated by the first method only. The second method have never been used. One thing. Okay. Now the second thing is ratification. So the ratification also has two methods. First one is by vote of legislature of 3/4 of the state, and second one is the by the constitutional convention called by 3/4 of the state. Okay, and the choice will be decided by the Congress. So Congress will decide that what method they should use, and after ratification, the constitutional amendment becomes effective. Okay. What is the fundamental difference between the amendment of Indian Constitution and the US Constitution? One difference I want to ask anyone.
In India, every amendment we don't need to consider state's opinion.
Okay.
Sir, assent of the
And we
president.
have president's assent.
Yeah, one fundamental difference is president assent. Okay, because in India, in some cases, at least we discuss, but here it's a complete difference that they don't need any kind of assent from the president. So now we'll talk about Canada.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Tabir.
Sir, the ratification in both the procedures, we require 3 by 4th of the states.
Yes.
So, what is the major difference in both the types of ratifications?
In first type, they will vote, and second type, there will be a constitutional convention.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now we'll talk about Canada. Anyone, if you have any idea about the amendment to the Canadian Constitution, what do we call Canadian Constitution? Anybody? Okay, so there is something called British North America Act. So it's a quite complicated thing about the Canadian Constitution. That so there are two portions in it. One is related to, we can call simply center, union, and the other one is province. So those matter which are related, the portion which is relating to the provincial constitution could be amended by the provincial legislature itself in the ordinary legislative process. Listen it carefully. अभी जैसे ब्रिटिश नॉर्थ अमेरिका एक्ट है एक, ठीक है, इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ, इट्स अ Canada. So it has two things, two types of matter. One is relating to union, second is province. So those matters which are related to provincial subjects, they can be amended by the provincial legislature, and in the process is very simple, that the way they bring normal or ordinary legislation, same process is followed for the for this amendment. Okay. And second thing, that there was no provision in British North America Act for amendment of the other portion before 1982. Did you understand that there are two portions? One portion deal with union, second portion deal with province. So those that portion which deal with provincial, the province itself can amend it, but there was no provision in this act for the amendment of the other portion before 1982. The procedure came later on. So basically it was a it was the statute of British Parliament, and it could be amended by the British Parliament itself. Now the Parliament did not act in this behalf suo motu. Do you know what is suo motu?
By itself, huh?
Yeah, on its own. So by itself. So listen carefully, that this act, it is Canadian Constitution, but it was the act, statute or act or law of the British Parliament. So the British Parliament did not act in this behalf suo motu. It acted only on the request of Canadian government. So whenever Canadian government made the request for the amendment, then British Parliament brought this thing. Now a convention had grown that British Parliament would pass an amendment as a matter of course if presented to it by the joint address of both houses of Canadian Parliament. Now another convention which had came into existence was that the Canadian government consulted the province before requesting the British Parliament to amend British North America Act. So for quite long time, it had been felt in Canada that it was anomalous and incongruous, and it's a kind of infringement of Canadian sovereignty that the constitutional amending power should based in British Parliament and not in an agency with Canada. But it was proved to be a very difficult problem to because there could not be any formula on which these states, these provinces, and union could agree. Now, what happened in 1949? That power was given by to Parliament of Canada to amend that portion of British North America Act, which was related to matter concerning the central government alone. In 1949, the power was given to Parliament of Canada to amend that portion of British North America Act that was related to matters concerning the central government alone. Now, these matters were appointment of seats in House of Commons. But with respect to that portion of this particular act, which concerned both the center and the province, that is distribution of power, the amending power, is still wasted in the British Parliament, as there was no agreement in Canada on the alternative procedure to be followed for the same purpose. In 1982, the British Parliament enacted the Canada Act 1982. Canada Act 1982 on the request of Canadian government, Canadian Parliament, and conferring amending power on the Canadian Parliament and provincial assemblies. The federal portion of this act, the act, when I'm saying this act, it means British North America Act, can now be amended by resolution of the Senate and House of Commons, plus resolution of two-thirds of provincial legislative assembly having at least 50% of members of each house if the amendment derogates from the legislative power. Sorry, what was I telling you? Yeah, I was telling you that 50% of the population of all the province. Okay, so once again I'll repeat for you. So basically, if there is anything which is related to federal portion in British North America Act, then it can be amended by a resolution of the Senate. Let me clean it. Okay, so this is the amending procedure that it will be amended by the resolution of Senate and House of Commons plus a resolution of 2/3 of provincial legislative assembly having at least 50% 50% of the population of all the province. All right. So this is the procedure, and each and every resolution is to be passed by a majority of members of each house if the amendment derogates from the legislative power, proprietary rights, or any other rights or privilege of the legislature or government of a province. And where an amendment applies to some but not all province, it can be made by the Senate, House of Commons, and the Legislative Assembly of each province to which the amendment applies. So this is the procedure of amendment of Canadian Constitution. Now we'll talk about Australian Constitution. कनाडा का समझ में आ गया ना आप लोगों को?
सर
हाँ अनिमिस बोलो.
Sir, if we are asked to compare the Canadian and Indian Constitution, so what will be the point in amendments that we will compare?
See, first thing is that in our constitution, the source of amendment is constitution itself. Okay, but in Canadian Constitution, the source of the amendment is the Canada Act 1982, not its constitution. First, this is the fundamental difference. And second difference is that you can see that it doesn't need the assent of the president or anyone. So these are the two things. And third thing is that there are certain things which are actually in our Indian Constitution, things cannot be passed by the province. Okay. But if any matter which is relating to one particular province, then that portion of the Constitution can be amended by the province itself. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
हमारे यहाँ तो स्टेट के पास पावर ही नहीं है अमेंड करने की. सिर्फ ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा, स्टेट उसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर सकता है.
Yes, sir.
आप सबको समझ में आ गया? अगर नहीं आया हो तो आई कैन once again repeat. Now I'll talk about Australia. So the Australian Constitution is somewhat similar to American Constitution. It has two stages. First one is initiation, and what is the second stage? Anyone?
Ratification.
Yeah, second stage is ratification. So an amendment to the Constitution may be proposed by an absolute majority of each House of Parliament, or should I write?
Yes, sir.
Absolute majority of each House of Parliament, or by an absolute majority of one house and in second house votes taken at an interval of at least 3 months. So होगा क्या कि एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी से फर्स्ट हाउस में होगा एंड सेकंड हाउस में जो है वोट होंगे वो 3 मंथ्स के बाद होंगे. ठीक है. Thereafter, the proposed amendment become effective on the ratification at a referendum by a majority of electors voting both in majority of states. अभी ratification कैसे होता है? जो इलेक्टर्स हैं वो वोट करेंगे in the both in majority of state and in the commonwealth. What is the meaning of commonwealth here? Anyone? When I am saying that majority of electors voting both in majority of states and in the commonwealth. So what is the meaning of commonwealth?
So Commonwealth means the colonial countries
Commonwealth means
by the Britishers.
can you please type? Your voice is not clear. Anyone else? Australian government is known as Commonwealth government also. So when it is saying
Like if you,
yes, Suraj,
so like it was under colonial rule in the past. Commonwealth
no,
of
no,
Britain.
that is different.
Oh,
Okay, Australian government is also known as Commonwealth government, and it is saying state government and union government. The term Commonwealth means union government. Okay, and after receiving the assent of the Governor General, so it will be ratified by the majority of states by the elector वोट जो इलेक्टर्स हैं जो वोट करते हैं स्टेट में और कॉमनवेल्थ में उनकी मेजॉरिटी से उसके बाद में द गवर्नर जनरल विल गिव इट्स एसेंट देन इट विल बिकम इफेक्टिव ऑलराइट and the constitution amending process in Australia has proved to be very rigid in practice. Many amendments deemed essential by the Commonwealth government, Commonwealth government means union government, have been rejected at the referendum, and s- Australian constitution known is they say that Australia is the frozen continent basically when they are talking about the Australian constitution. How many amendments have taken place in Australian constitution since 1900? Only 9. और भारत में कितने हो चुके हैं?
104.
अच्छा. So this is all about Australian amendment of Australian constitution. Now we'll discuss about 3 categories of Indian constitution. The amendment of Indian constitution took place in 3 categories. Basically takes place in 3 categories. And anyone, if you can tell me about those categories, at least India का तो बताओ.
Sir, by simple majority, by special majority, and special majority with consent of states.
देखो ऐसा है इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कि different degree of rigidity attached to different portion of the constitution and depending on their importance and significance. So basically the Indian constitution provide 3 classes of amendments of its provision. जो इसकी provision है उनकी 3 classes हैं. First one is constitutional provision of comparatively less significance can be amended by the simple majority process as is adopted in passing ordinary legislation in parliament. So can you please give me one example of this kind of amendment? There are certain provisions in the constitution which are comparatively less significant and they can be amended simply legislative process of the legislative process by passing
formation
ordinary
of new state,
formation of
For legislative council.
new states,
okay.
Citizenship.
Salary and
Arti-
allowances of
Sir,
parliament.
money bills.
Sir, rules and procedure in parliament.
Okay. First thing, Article 2 state formation under Article 2. Second, under Article 11. Third, under Article 73 of the Constitution. What is 73 subclause 2 of the Constitution? Anyone?
Sir, is it related to quorum?
What is Article 11 of the Constitution?
Citizenship.
What does it say?
That the parliament is having the power to amend the citizenship rights.
Basically, it's empower the parliament to make any provision for acquisition and termination of and all other matters relating to citizenship in spite of Article 5 to 10. Okay. And Article 73(2) retains certain executive power in the states and their officers until Parliament otherwise provides. Okay, so there are many. So tomorrow I'll discuss all these things. Yeah, so first category I have already discussed with you. Second category is basically those provisions which are material and vital are made relatively stable, as these can be amended only by following the rule of special majority as laid down in Article 368. Third one is there are certain constitutional provisions relating to the federal character which may be characterized as the entrance provision, which need for their amendment in addition to the passage of amending bill by the special majority of in the two houses of parliament, ratification by half of the state legislature. This procedure is also laid down in Article 368. So these are the three kind of amendment we have in our constitution. So tomorrow we'll discuss about these three kind of constitution, these three categories, and thereafter we'll discuss case law and we'll be done with it. So I want to give you one question if you're ready for it. Should I?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first let me stop recording. And let me stop sharing also. Somebody is asking about mains target making. So tomorrow I'll discuss. So I'll start with mains how to make notes for mains. I'll start tomorrow with it only. So I want to ask one thing, that did you complete the case law which I have given to you?
Sir, I went through it, but it is really complicated.
Okay. Apart from you,
लैंग्वेज थोड़ी लीगल लगी सर.
हाँ, बट एक्चुअली मैंने आपको इसलिए दिया था कि आपको स्टार्टिंग से लेके एंड तक का सब समझ में आ जाए, क्योंकि उसमें स्टार्ट से लेके बिगनिंग फ्रॉम द बिगनिंग टू एंड दे हैव डिस्कस्ड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग.
सर उसमें एक इशू ये लगा कि जैसे कुछ केसेस थे, जैसे वामन राव केस हो गया और ये एडीएम जबलपुर केस हो गया, तो वो मतलब उन्होंने पूरे ढंग से नहीं डिस्कस किए थे, उसके कुछ इंटरप्रिटेशन ले रखे थे जब आईआर कोलो केस के लिए, तो वो थोड़ा सा मतलब बीच बीच में जब वो आता था तब मतलब बिल्कुल अलग ही हो जाता, समझ नहीं आता है.
चलो उस केस को मैं कल डिस्कस करूंगा आपके साथ, और भी केस मैं मतलब आपके साथ डिफरेंट केस ही डिस्कस करूंगा, ठीक है? तो उससे क्या होगा कि आपको बहुत इजीली चीज़ें समझ में आ जाएंगी. चलो आपको एक क्वेश्चन देख लो आप. क्वेश्चन है, पार्लियामेंट पावर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट टू अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज वाइड बट नॉट अनलिमिटेड. डू यू एग्री विद दिस स्टेटमेंट?
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
आप कैसे स्टार्ट करोगे, आप मुझे बताओ. एक मिनट, लेट मी आस्क समवन हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट विद इट if you have to write answer. Jis, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, Jis, if you have to write the answer for this question and you have got 150 words
Okay, sir.
for it. So how will you write? How will you start?
Sir, I will start with the answer by mentioning the Article 368, which is I'll start with that article because that article talks about the amendment of Constitution. So I'll start my answer with that. Then about then yes, I do agree with this statement. Power of Parliament. Then I'll mention
So
about the.
will you write in your answer that yes, I agree with this statement?
No, sir, no. Uh, I won't. I mean,
Okay, okay. Thank you, Jis. Animes, you tell me.
Sir, like just said, we can start with Article 368, or we can say that the question regarding the unlimited power of amending the constitution was proposed in Sankari Prasad case first time. Then it went on to make basic structure of constitution in Kesavananda Bharti case. So we can start with that.
Will you not mention 44th Amendment?
Yes, sir. 44th and 42nd both.
Yes, do mention 44th Amendment because actually basic structure and all these things came. That is good, but it was the law which was brought by the parliament and it had nullified lot of acts and it put restriction on the parliament also. So what we can do that power of parliament to amend the constitution is wide but not unlimited. So as what we can do, we can start from these three categories I was discussing with you. ठीक है, जो कैटेगरीज मैंने आपसे डिस्कस की थी, फर्स्ट कैटेगरीज आप डिस्कस कर देते कि जो मतलब कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो अमेंड कर ही सकती है ना पार्लियामेंट, तो आप उसको क्यों छोड़ रहे हो? समझ रहे हो आप चीज?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, तो आप उसको तो छोड़ नहीं सकते हो, आप उसको तो लेना पड़ेगा वो कैटेगरीज भी, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली दैट इज, भले ही दैट इज नॉट कमिंग अंडर आर्टिकल 368 बट स्टिल दैट इज अमेंडिंग द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. तो अभी आप उसमें बहुत सिंपली कुछ नहीं लिखना है आपको, आप सिंपली लिख सकते हो जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि मतलब यही लिख सकते हो, आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हो, एक लाइन लिखोगे कि मतलब डिफरेंट डिग्रीज ऑफ रिजिडिटी अटैच टू डिफरेंट पोर्शन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन and depending on their importance and significance the constitution had been categorized into three categories. उसके बाद में आप लिख सकते हो फर्स्ट वाला कि there are certain provision of the constitution which are less significant and they can easily amended by the parliament itself. ठीक है, for them thereafter you can mention article 368. समझ गए एनिमेस? तो अब जनरली क्या होगा कि आप मोस्टली लोगों ने सबने 368 से स्टार्ट किया होगा, ठीक है, तो सबका एक जैसा हो जाएगा, तो आपने वो पॉइंट छोड़ दिए ना जब when the question is saying amend the constitution is wide. So what is wide, we need to tell those things also. समझ रहे हो ना, यहाँ हर शब्द में एक मीनिंग है, so we need to tell then when we are discussing category 1 then we can give 3-4 example also. We can give example of article 2, article 11, article 133(3), article 73, these kind of example we can give in just one line. We don't need to write what is there in article 2, what is there in article 10. We can say for example article 2 which provides parliament power to form a state or alter the area of any state without going through the rigid procedure of the constitution which is mentioned in article 368 of the constitution. एक ऐसे थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करके और इसके बाद आप इमीडिएटली आर्टिकल 368 पे आ जाओ. 368 को करो डिस्कस. 368 डिस्कस करने के बाद में जो पार्लियामेंट ने 44th अमेंडमेंट किया है और जो आप केस डिस्कस कर रहे थे उस केस को लिख तो हो गया, इतने में आपका हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो स्टार्टिंग में हमने बता दिया कि क्या क्या बाइट पावर्स हैं, समझ गए एनीमेस? बाइट पावर्स के बाद हम बता देंगे कि ये रेस्ट्रिक्शन है और ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला है, इसमें हो गया, इससे ज्यादा बस खत्म हो गया मैटर.
हाँ, यस सर.
ठीक है, तो ये बहुत डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन है और ये क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी में आया है.
हाँ, यस सर.
ठीक है, तो जब भी आप चीजें लिखो ना तो ट्राई टू मेक इट डिफरेंट। देखो सेम जिसने बताया सेम अनिमेस आपने बताया ऑलमोस्ट, ठीक है। आपने थोड़ा सा आपके पास कंटेंट ज्यादा था तो आपने केस जोड़ दिया और वो चीज कर दी, बट तरीका सेम ही था। तो थोड़ा सा तरीका हल्का सा डिफरेंट बनाओ, बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंट। और ऐसा भी नहीं कि डिफरेंट बनाने के चक्कर में आप अपनी क्वेश्चन की लाइन से ही हट गए, ठीक है। आप लोगों के
श्योर।
लिए, जो लोग यहाँ 58 लोग हैं, आप लोगों के लिए क्वेश्चन है, नोट इट डाउन और आप लोग मुझे मेल करना info@, what is the email ID,
Using UPSC
easingupsc.com, ओके। info@easingupsc.com। आप लोग के पास टाइम है कल 11 बजे, 11 AM तक का। कल 11 AM कट ऑफ है, तब तक आप लिखना इसको और लिख के मुझे भेजना, ठीक है। आपको मैं रिव्यू करके दूंगा इसको, बस जितने लोग हैं उतने लोगों के रिव्यू करूंगा, इसके अलावा किसी का रिव्यू नहीं होगा, ठीक है। बाकी मैंने स्क्रीनशॉट सबके ले ही लिए
Sir,
हैं जो
also
जो
I have
याद
a
है।
question.
हाँ बोलो।
Uh, sir, do we need to stay on the neutral ground and not make a statement like yes, we agree with it or no, we don't? So we don't need to do that, I guess.
आपको कुछ कहना ही नहीं है। आपने देखो हमेशा डिप्लोमेसी खेलो आप, ठीक है। आपने बाइट पावर बता दी, आपके पास जो कंटेंट था। फिर जो आप कह रहे हो ना कि जो अनलिमिटेड नहीं है पावर, उसके लिए आप आर्टिकल 44 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट और जो केस है, केस लॉ, उसको यूज करो और सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कोट करो। उसकी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि पावर अनलिमिटेड नहीं है, उसमें आप डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर लिख सकते हो, ठीक है। जुडिशियल रिव्यू को यूज कर सकते हो, समझ गए आप।
Okay,
डायरेक्ट
so
कभी मत लिखा
it's
करो।
more like we have to be only factual and not express our opinions.
आपको अपनी ओपिनियन सिर्फ सजेशन देने हैं जहां रिक्वायर्ड हो, वेर एवर सजेशंस आर नीडेड। ऐसे
If it's
डायरेक्ट,
mentioned in the question, then
हाँ, इफ इट इज मेंशन देन गिव यू सजेशंस, ओके।
okay.
Or if it the question is asking critically analyze this thing, then you can come out with some drawback, and those drawback or the criticism should be constructive. It should not be negative in the nature, ठीक है। अभी जैसे मान लो कि मॉब लिंचिंग पे वैसे क्वेश्चन आएगा नहीं, ठीक है। बट मॉब लिंचिंग पे क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा तो आप कभी ये सब मत लिख देना कि जो है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इज सपोर्टिंग these people and the concept of हिंदुत्व is taking place. These kind of things you cannot write. What you can write वेरी सिंपल की चीजें चल रही हैं, ठीक है, नॉर्मली। और उसके बाद में जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कोट करो, ठीक है। और इस तरीके की चीजें, मतलब थोड़ी सी डिप्लोमेटिक बनो। कभी भी डायरेक्ट गवर्नमेंट को टारगेट मत करो। आपका काम क्या होने वाला है, यू आर गोइंग टू बिकम गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट, एंड वो भी आईएएस ऑफिसर, आईपीएस ऑफिसर या जो भी। सो यू आर गोइंग टू बिकम ब्यूरोक्रेट एंड यूनियन गवर्नमेंट की एम्प्लॉय। सो आप परमानेंट एग्जीक्यूटिव जो है ना उसके पार्ट बनने जा रहे हो, तो आपको तो वो खुद ही डिफेंड करना पड़ेगा। और जब आप अपनी राइटिंग में ही उसको क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे हो तो आप अभी डिफेंड कैसे करोगे उसको, समझ रहे हो आगे जाके। तो यही तो
Yes.
एनालाइज किया जाता है। सो यू हैव टू बी क्वाइट डिप्लोमेटिक। हम लोग, सी, आई एम नॉट गिविंग यू एनी फिक्स टाइमिंग। Whenever I'll feel good, I'll take your session and I'll inform you 3-4 hours before. All right? Because I don't know, sometime I feel very good, sometime I feel like that I don't have energy only. Yeah, the question, can you see I am sharing the screen and it is mentioned on the screen only. Somebody is asking to repeat me the question. The question is, power of parliament to amend the constitution is wide but not unlimited. Do you agree with this statement? Did you note it down, Tabir? Isan, tomorrow we will not have test. Most probably day after tomorrow we'll have a test. Okay, and this week we'll have only one test. Anyone, if you have any doubt or anything, test will be 3 history environment.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, what about the controversial bills passed by government?